side of Harvest Caye, the silt curtains that are being used for the dredging are non-functional. One of them was not fully enclosed, meaning it was open on one end, which means it's not trapping the sediment. And the second one evaluated was damaged. So the vertical silt curtain was detached from the surface flotation device, which also makes it non-functional in holding back the silt from the dredging. So that was the first thing on the west side. And then, as I mentioned, on the east side, we found this very nice, healthy reef system. And then further up is where we found the boulders dumped on the live rock. So these artificial boulders were dumped on live coral colonies, and we have photos from the surface and photos underwater showing the crushed live coral, which is illegal. There are fines associated with that, and that's illegal. I've since understood that this may be part of the artificial beach. I'm not 100% certain, but maybe this is part of the berm or the boundary where they would put in the artificial beach. And I've also understood that NCL is claiming that they will just pay the fines and relocate the corals, which is very concerning because where would they be relocated to? Obviously, the massive sizes of some of these corals is physically limiting to relocate them. The relocations that I personally have done and why I was contacted, relocated small fragments of like 30 centimeter size, maximum 3 foot size, 90 centimeters. So these massive coral heads that are in excess of 6 and 10 feet, they weigh a lot. It's a different species than what we've been moving. They're a slower growing species, so they're hundreds of years old. So it's not really logistical or ecologically feasible to say that you can relocate these corals.
But Lisa, from your expert opinion and being out there, can you speak on the amount of damage to what portion, or how big is the damage? No?
The damage that we saw is fairly confined when they dump the boulders on the live coral. It's one specific site, but the impending damage of the beach construction they want to make is far larger. So Harvest Caye is actually quite large, and the reef system there is actually quite extensive. And that's why it's really not feasible to move all the affected corals and related species that they're suggesting that can simply relocate. It's really not a feasible option. So that's my biggest concern. That's on the east side. That's on the windward side. On the west side, or the leeward side, is where the manatee habitat is. And that area is where the silt curtains that we saw were ineffective. And so the extent of the damage, really, I couldn't calculate it, but it could be quite extensive because silt will lock out the sunlight for seagrass, which is what the manatees feed on and other organisms need. So that can be very extensive. They're also dredging on the very south point for the actual ship entrance, where the ships will actually be docked. So there's multiple different impacts that's happening around Harvest Caye right now.